Hi, welcome back to TV Tuesday. Today I'm honored to have Casey Boggs with me. And Casey is someone that I met virtually through my husband. And I'm anxious to talk to him today and find out a little bit more about what he does. Sounds fascinating. So, Casey, what
Yes.
do you do? Why do you do it? How long have you been doing it? And how can I refer business to you? That's a lot.
Mm.
Four
Yeah.
questions. Did you
Well,
write
first,
them
thank you.
down?
I did. And we unpack each one of those, but thank you for having me on your show. Appreciate it. And the first question is, what do I do? And the easy answer is public relations. So most people know what public relations is, but I'll define it by saying public relations is relationships with the public. Who is your public and what relationships do you want to have with them? So our job, for the most part, is to understand who is your who is your public, who's your audience, and then
Hmm.
what perceptions do they have of you, what perceptions do they have of your competition, or what are their reputation, what's your reputation, right? And so we define reputation and brand in a similar fashion, but an easy way of doing this, Sarah, is to say brand is what you say about yourself and reputation is what other people say,
That is so
right?
true. Now,
Yeah.
question to you is, do you help people clean up their reputation?
At times, it's mostly organizations or companies,
Ah,
corporations, and organizations. People sometimes, but it's usually the people within the organizations, right? So we do this primarily through a few different functions, and that's one to assess what the reputation is. So it's kind of doing an MRI of the reputation, and
and
that's
you
looking.
do that. How do you, how, like
Yeah, yeah.
LinkedIn, Facebook,
Hmm.
what?
Well, first you do you ask a lot of questions, you gather information, you do surveys, you do focus groups, you do one-on-one interviews with people who are intimately involved or know more about your organization, and that could be internally, that could be your staff, that could be your customers, it could be your board, or that could be outside, and that could be anything from the media, social media influencers, and then sometimes online, like Glassdoor. Have you heard that with Glassdoor or at LinkedIn? We put our ear to the ground and we do a lot of listening to understand what are the sentiments, typically about a company's products. Their products are really important. What are people thinking about their products or their people? Do they like the service that they receive, or what's the culture like, right? Or what is their really their DNA? Who are they? And that's what we look for to understand sentiment, good or bad.
I think, Peter used to work for the Coca-Cola company, and I think they
Mm,
did these kinds of assessments all the time because they wanted to make sure their brand was, presenting a positive spin and there were no negative things. And if there was a negative thing, they would go out and fix it.
that's
Uh,
right.
so how interesting. And how did you
Yeah.
get started in this?
Yeah. Well, so I'm a recovering journalist, as I like to tell people.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right.
So I used to work at NPR and then also NBC before that, back in Los Angeles
You
and San
do have an
Francisco.
NPR voice, actually.
Do I? All right. Good stuff.
I mean that
So,
very in a very positive way.
so Sarah, in the world of journalism, right? My job would be to listen first, to gather a bunch of information, and then my audience was the listenership or viewership, right? And so I had to take a lot of information and succinctly boil it down to some bite-sized information and then distribute it through either, radio, TV, or written. And then so it's really clear, right? And it's understandable, it's palatable to that audience. So as a journalist and in the public relations part, I do the same thing, right? I gather a lot of information. How is this going to be perceived by the target audience? And then you provide it for it. So I got into journalism and then I went into public relations. So I was with two large PR firms, and then Sarah, then I got the big call. I went in-house at AIG. So I was a director of public relations for AIG during the financial crisis. So I learned a few things about reputation management and crisis
Right.
mitigation.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Well, yes. I'm
so
sure.
that's how I got into this world, and I started my own firm shortly after that, and then grew it to what it is today. Yeah.
That's so exciting. So what's your why? Why do you do what you do? And what gives you pleasure? What makes you want to hop out of bed in the morning and say, "Oh, I get to do this again."
Well, I'm a naturally curious person, I think. I'm a very good listener typically. So I don't know if that's a superpower or not, but I'm just
So,
curious, right? And so whenever situations come my way or our firm's way, I see it as a jigsaw puzzle. And what I mean by that is there's a lot of pieces involved with a jigsaw puzzle. And then, my excitement is like, okay, every puzzle is different. So I'm going to frame it up, find the frames, find the corners, and then start putting the little pieces together to form that story or that understanding or that perception. And so that's what gets me excited. Every day is different, every situation is different, every puzzle is different. And so
yeah, I can see
it's just
that.
exciting. I mean,
I
my day
love
today was nuts. And I'm like, that's how I roll.
that. I love that metaphor of
Thank you.
every day is a puzzle. Something new happens every day. And I would say that's pretty much the same in real estate. Um,
That's right.
every day, every situation, every
I
client
bet.
is different, and everybody has different needs, and everybody has different emotions. And yeah. So I love that. I'm gonna steal that. Don't
Take
mind.
it, take it. Yes, especially in real estate, you're right. There's a lot of complexions right there, but you have to put it all together, put the pieces together. When they're challenging, right?
Well, typically in a real estate transaction, there was either a birth, a death, a divorce, a relocation, or a first-time home.
Yeah,
So,
all
but
those are nuanced. Yeah, all
oh,
those
I
have
mean,
their own
those are the
complexions.
most stressful times of your life. So I come in for about 90 days in the most stressful time of a person's life when people may not be at their personal best.
All right,
And I have to, you know, help move the fog out so that we can see
a
what.
defogger, if you will.
Yes, that's a good. Yes, I'm going to use that too. I like that. I like that.
Yeah,
Well, tell me about your family. Where do you live? You got
yeah.
kids? What do they think
Thanks.
about your job?
So I am happily married for now 23 years to my wife,
Congratulations.
Nicole, and I have twins, boy, girl. They're 17 years old, Sarah. So we're knocking on that going to college door. They're juniors in high school. So we
Oh,
talk a lot about college. And one of them is actually thinking about Emory college, which we'll
mm,
see how that goes. But for the most part, we're looking at other places. I'm a West Coast kid. I now live in Louisville, Kentucky, though.
oh, I love
So
you say it
now,
right. You
yeah,
say it
yes,
correctly. Well,
Louisville. And so we're adjusting to the South, but we spent a lot of time just exploring this new area for us. So we're enjoying it. I say y'all a lot now, more than I have before, but
sure you
I've
do.
been.
I mean, it just rolls off your tongue.
It does. But I just find a lot of charm here, and just in general, we're finding our niche. So we've been here for about 2.5 years and
Okay.
enjoying the process. Yeah,
That's so great. Well,
yeah.
get to Atlanta, you need to look us up. We'd love
Oh,
to show
I,
you
I go to Atlanta quite a bit, so I will knock on your door next time I'm there.
we would love to show you our Atlanta. So,
Yes.
well, Casey, I appreciate your time so much.
Oh, I appreciate
And
the opportunity.
thank you for hopping on this call. And I'm gonna I'm gonna post Casey's information down at the end of the video. And if any of you or any of you own a company that may need a little reputation, what do you call it?
Management, maybe?
Sweeping, sweeping,
Sweet.
or
Yes.
um fluffing.
There's that. I'll steal that from you.
Yeah,
Reputation fluffing.
if you need some fluffing, why don't you call Casey? I think he's a great guy, and I'm delighted to have had the opportunity to speak with you today. All right, bye
All
for
right.
now, everyone.
Thank you.